Let me tell you how I learned that sometimes standing your ground, no matter how much it rattles people, can turn a whole neighborhood upside down and, weirdly enough, help folks find their backbone again. You ever buy a house thinking you finally made it, only to have someone tell you, flat out, that you don't own what you just paid for? Yeah, that happened. It was my first real morning at the house. Sun was bouncing off Lake HOA, the kind of place that looks too peaceful to have any drama, you know? I was still unloading boxes, and my old golden retriever Max was sniffing everything in sight, acting like he owned the joint already. That's when Elaine Porter materialized. HOA president, tall as a fence post, hair yanked back like she lost a bet with a bungee cord, clipboard clutched to her chest like it was a holy relic. She didn't say hello, didn't even ask my name. Just, do you really think one person can own a lake? I almost laughed, except the look in her eye told me this was not a joke. The lake, she said, like we were talking about the Holy Grail, belongs to the neighborhood. Everyone uses it. You'll need to sign for access. No casserole, no welcome basket. Just that. That was my first taste of HOA hospitality, right there. I tried to keep things friendly, set my box down, wiped the sweat off my palms, said we could talk later. But she leaned in, made it clear that later wasn't good enough, that if I didn't sign, things get complicated. For hours in my so-called dream home, and I was already getting threatened with complications. You know what I mean? That night, I went through my stack of closing papers, deed, surveys, water rights, the works. And sure enough, it was all there in black and white. Lake access, private dock, property lines stretching out into the water. I wasn't confused, wasn't reading it wrong. So why did Elaine look at me like I was stealing Christmas? The next morning, an old guy strolled by with a fishing pole. Don Harris, he said, nodding at the blue house up the hill. Good spot you got. Unless the HOA stirs things up. I chuckled, said Elaine had already dropped by. Don just shook his head, muttered, that woman thinks the whole world's her backyard. She's been spinning that story for years. Most folks just roll over and let her run the place. You? Well, you actually own it. She won't like that. I should have taken it as a warning, but honestly, I thought maybe Elaine would just let it go. She didn't. 2 days later, she marched up my driveway like she had a warrant, heels clicking, clipboard in hand. We need to settle the lake issue, she said, like it was a hostage situation. I told her flat out, the deed says what it says. She didn't blink. This isn't about paperwork, it's about community. It's tradition. Her jaw got all tight when I pushed back. She didn't appreciate being challenged. People don't take kindly to outsiders who make life harder, she warned, eyes cold. And I don't take kindly to being bullied. I shot back. After she stormed off, I called my realtor, Jessica, one of those no-nonsense, check every detail types. She laughed when I told her, you're not crazy. You own those rights, and the HOAs never had them. They just freeloaded. Don't let her bluff you. Easier said than done, but it felt good to hear. Soon enough, it wasn't just Elaine. A couple neighbors, Mark and Susan, stopped by with cookies. The mood was polite but nervous. You'll hear talk about the lake, Susan whispered, eyes darting like the bushes were bugged. Elaine likes control. People usually go along to keep the peace. I could see they meant well, but there was a warning in their smiles. And sure enough, the gossip started to swirl. Every time I walked outside, folks watched me from their porches, kids slowed their bikes. Conversations trailed off when I passed. Was it paranoia? Nah. The whole street was humming with it. Elaine telling folks I was out to ruin their fun, that I'd lock the lake away behind some big, ugly gate. One morning, I walked down to a bake sale. Figured I'd at least try to meet people. A lady named Pamela, silver hair and eyes that had seen it all, gave me a warm welcome. But a guy named Bill wasn't having it. That lake's tradition, he said, arms folded, glaring. Always has been. I tried to explain, didn't want to cut anyone off, just wanted the truth to matter. But you could feel the tension. Bill stormed off, but Pamela leaned in, told me not everyone was in Elaine's pocket. Some of us are sick of her games, another neighbor, Randy, told me later. But most folks are scared to say so. Then came the violations. Suddenly I'm getting letters from the HOA. Unauthorized fencing, which I didn't have. Dock not up to code, which it was. You ever feel like someone's just throwing stuff at you, hoping something will stick? That's exactly what was happening. I called Charles, the vice president, about the fence violation. He muttered something about a clerical error, but but we both knew the game. Elaine was turning the screws. The harassment got petty, a note on my door. Keep the lake open, don't ruin this for everyone. Max started growling at strangers. Kids were sneaking onto the dock at night, then running off when I called out. Elaine even started telling folks I was scaring their children. By this point, I was done being Mr. Nice Neighbor. So, I did what any engineer would do. I got evidence. Drove over to the county courthouse. Dug through property records with the help of Janet, a clerk who'd seen every neighborhood squabble under the sun. She found my deed, crystal clear, dating back to '79. You're not the first, she said. HOA tried to file a claim a couple years ago. Had nothing. But sometimes if folks repeat something long enough, it feels true. That hit home. I made copies, took photos, built a folder labeled Lake Rights Proof. If Elaine wanted a showdown, I was ready. I started showing the paperwork to the folks who dared talk to me. Pamela, Randy, Frank, who'd checked the records himself years back. Bit by bit, I realized Elaine's power was smoke and mirrors. Her real trick was making everyone feel alone. By now, it was clear, this was bigger than a lake. Elaine was keeping people in line with fear, fines, gossip, violations. She didn't want fairness. She wanted control. Why do people let her get away with it? I asked Pamela one night over iced tea. She just sighed. Because it's easier to nod along than fight. She scares people. But there comes a point, when folks get tired of being scared. Melissa and Randy showed up on my porch with dinner, said they were done watching Elaine run roughshod over the neighborhood. Pamela hosted a little gathering, Frank, Randy, a few others. We went over the documents, plain as day. The more people saw the truth, the angrier they got at having been lied to all this time. Elaine must have sensed the shift, because she went nuclear. Showed up at my house with 2 board members and a letter. My dock was unsafe for community use and would be removed in 30 days. I told her where to shove it, politely, more or less. The next day, someone spray-painted selfish in red across my dock. That's when we knew this was war. So we doubled down, passed out copies of the deed, talked to more neighbors. I stopped caring if folks stared. Then came the big HOA meeting. The clubhouse was packed, people spilling out the doors, everyone buzzing. Elaine tried to make it all about community spirit versus one selfish homeowner. I spread the deed and legal docs on the table, spoke up, voice shaking a little, but steady. Tradition doesn't trump the law. This is my right, and here's the proof. Pamela stood up with her own copy. Frank, too. Randy and Melissa nodded. Suddenly the room wasn't with Elaine anymore. Even Charles, the VP, admitted he's right. The documents are valid. The HOA never had the rights. Elaine's mask slipped, furious, helpless. She stormed out to dead silence. After that, things changed fast. Elaine resigned for personal reasons. Notices from the HOA stopped feeling like threats and started reading like reminders. The neighborhood started to breathe again. Kids played by the lake. Folks brought me vegetables from their gardens, and even the ones who'd avoided me started waving from their porches. One night, I saw those same teenagers, nervous, fishing poles in hand. I waved them over, told them to fish as long as they respected the dock. That's when it hit me. Owning rights didn't mean keeping people out. It meant setting boundaries, but doing it with fairness, with respect. And when you do that, folks actually respect you back. The truth? Elaine thrived because we all let her. Fear only works when it stays hidden. But once enough people stand together, the whole thing falls apart. So if you've ever felt cornered, bullied, or just plain tired of being pushed around, don't back down. Facts matter. Stand firm, even if you stand alone at first. Because the second you do, you'll be surprised who else is willing to stand beside you. What about you? Have you ever had to take a stand in your community? Was it worth it? Drop a comment, let me know your story, and hey, if you want more tales about justice, courage, or just good old-fashioned neighbor drama, stick around. You never know which story might be yours next.